Hi there, this is Dr. Ben Rushing, Professor of Mathematics, Northwestern State University of Louisiana, here in Natchitoches, Louisiana. This is April the 5th, Palm Sunday, and I'm coming at you with another video where we're going to look at some percentage increases in the total number of U.S. cases of COVID-19 over the period from the middle of March until yesterday, the 4th of April. In this analysis, we look at the trend in the daily percentage of the total number of cases as a function of the day from 3/15 through 4/4. We see from the raw data that the daily percentage increase bounced around somewhat between 3/15 and 3/23, starting at 28.3%. 31.8%. There was a 75.5% daily increase one day, previous day 21. So you get some bouncing around on that data. But then, starting at about the 24th, there's a clear downward trend in the percentage, with the one anomaly, 27.5% on the 26th of March. And so for each of those days, starting at the 24th through the 4th of April, with the exception of the 26th of March, each of those percentages were less than what we found in our predicted 25%. Now we'll see that in the scatter plot. Scatter plot of the percentages, there's this downward trend. And so the scatter plot in the analysis suggests that a linear regression model of daily percentage increase versus the day is appropriate. And so this linear model suggests that on average the percentage increase in the number of cases is decreasing at about 1.5% per day. And if that trend continues, then by day 28, which would be April 11th of 2020, the percentage increase in the number of cases will be 0. Now that's good news. The overstated values from our first analysis predicts that the total number of U.S. cases on that day will be about 2.3 million. And if this percent increase trend that we seem to see tops that out, where we're zeroing out the increase, that would be the peak of the graph. And so what we'll do in the next analysis is we're going to factor in the number of people who have recovered. So instead of just counting the total number of cases, we're going to take the total number of cases and subtract the number of people who have recovered and look at that analysis. In this analysis, we look at the net number of U.S. cases, which is the total minus the number recovered, as a function of the day. When the number of people who've recovered from COVID-19 is subtracted from the number of cases to get the net number of U.S. cases, the daily percentage increase is only slightly less than 25%, which we saw previously, so we're at about 24.9%. The prediction function, which is the solid black line here in the graph, is over-predicting or overstating the number of cases from about day 16 through about day 21. Because of that over-prediction, for example, on day 21 we have an over-prediction of about 162,000. In the earlier analysis, we saw a prediction of about 2.3 million cases on day 28, April 11th. That was when we expected that percentage increase to zero out. And that prediction reduces to about 2.18 million. Not a whole lot of reduction in number of cases on that day. But at that time, according to the trend line for the percentage decrease, that would be the maximum or the peak of the graph, as has been talked about in the media. This analysis examines the trend in the daily percentage of net number of cases, that is, total number of cases minus recovered, in the U.S. Our data is shown in the chart, and as we saw before, the percentage increase bounces around somewhat at the beginning from the 14th down toward about the 23rd, 24th. So we see some bouncing around of the numbers from in that group, a low of about 20% up to this 75.5% seems to be an anomaly. But starting at about the 24th of March, toward the end of the data, the 4th of April, we see essentially a downward trend, again, as we saw before, with the exception of the 26th of March, where we saw that little bump of 27%. But all of these percentages are below that 24.9% increase, with a fairly evident downward trend toward the end. As we see in the scatter plot, the daily percentage increase in the net number of cases as a function of the day clearly indicates a downward trend. And based on our analysis of our linear regression, we're seeing a decrease in that daily percentage increase. So we've got an increase in the percentage of cases, but that percentage is going down daily by about 1.6%. Now, if that trend continues, then on day 27, which would be the 10th of April, we would expect to see the maximum number of cases, if we count the total number of cases in the U.S., to happen on that day, and that maximum value or maximum number of cases about 1.8 million. If we remove the recovered cases from the total, then that estimated net total number of U.S. cases on April 10th, 2020 is about 1.75 million. So in summary, the daily percentage growth rate in total U.S. cases of about 25.2% over the last 21 days is much lower at day 21 and is trending downward at a rate of about 1.5% per day. And if this downward trend continues, we would expect the total number of cases of U.S. COVID-19 to peak on or about April 10th, 2020 at about 1.75 million cases. Now, based on the previous analyses I've done, I would expect the total number of cases in the U.S. to be even less than this. Continue to stay safe, use good judgment, socially distance yourself from others, avoid crowds. If you go out, wear some kind of mask, love your friends and family from a distance, use good hygiene, wash your hands more often than you think you should, and I'm trusting God that He will continue to offer comfort, peace, hope, and grace to sustain me through whatever the future might bring. Have a good evening.